This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Wednesday show, little NBA, little NFL. We wave goodbye to college basketball. Whitlock believes we are headed to a shorter NBA season, and Fox basketball expert Chris Broussard advises LeBron to stay away from putting his name on making the season shorter. Cowherd comes to the defense of Steph Curry and thinks his self-awareness is his greatest quality. Hall of Famer Chris Carter breaks down the broadcasting role and the challenges that Tony Romo will face and delivers a warning that the job is harder than he thinks. I've only been on TV for 10 months, and I would totally agree. Russell Westbrook got his 41st triple-double last night. Does anybody care? Is he the MVP now? Plus, we discuss Richard Sherman and would he fit with the Patriots? Ready for Speak For Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
All right, welcome to the show. Colin wasn't impressed by Russell Westbrook's historic night.
And Jason thinks LeBron's latest statements could shake up the NBA in a big way. Speak For Yourself starts right now.
Great show, a lot of basketball.
A lot of hoops today.
A little Romo, a little bit of everything. Hello and welcome. We're joined today by Hall of Famer Chris Carter and Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard. All right, let's start in the NBA, where the Cavs and the Celtics meet tonight in what should be a major battle for first place in the Eastern Conference. Just don't tell that to LeBron, who thinks the games doesn't mean much at all.
I don't know. I've played in a lot of big games, man. I'm the last person to ask about a big game in the regular season. I'm sorry. I've been to 6 straight finals, man. I'm the last person to ask about a regular season game, dude. Sorry.
All right, the league may be listening to LeBron. An ESPN.com story today reports that NBA owners will meet on Thursday at the behest of Commissioner Adam Silver to address the league's problem with resting stars. And Houston general manager Daryl Morey argued in the story that the league could benefit from a reduced schedule, saying, quote, shorter schedule increases the importance of each game, which drives television ratings, which drives the lion's share of money for most top pro leagues. Colin, should the NBA shorten its season?
Oh, yes. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir there. I think every sport, I just think when games mean more, what's happened in our lives is that I grew up with 3 channels. Then we had Fox, that was 4. Now I have 4,000. I have on-demand viewing. Every baseball game's on. So the urgency is gone. And outside of college football and the NFL, regular seasons are dying. So to me, this is a huge issue. And I also think when the star of your league, like Tom Brady in the NFL is like, I can play till 50. You can't pull me off the field. And LeBron's like, these regular season games mean nothing. So the star of your league, that's like the McDonald's CEO saying, you really shouldn't eat fast food every day. Seriously, the one thing the NBA's always fought is the regular season, sort of. Yeah. Now your star's saying, it's not only that, I'm not down with it.
Listen, I think this is a coordinated effort. You've got LeBron James, the most important player. You got the other stars backing him up from Steph Curry to everybody else. Now you have a general manager, Daryl Morey. Now you have your #1 television partner, ESPN. Tom Haberstroh published a nice story. Well-reported, nice data, facts in there about the wear and tear.
Yes.
And that the 82-game schedule is already dead. Guys are playing less and less games. They proved it with data. And so I see this as an organized movement to reduce the schedule. You've got your #1 television partner making the case for you. You got your players making the case.
Your star players.
Yeah. And now you have owners meeting on Thursday. I think we're going to see a reduction in NBA schedule.
I don't think it's a conspiracy like that. James Harden has come out and said he wants to play 82 games. Russell Westbrook is like, I'm playing every night. So you don't have all the stars saying, let's play less. I'm with you, though. I'd like to see it go down to about 60 games because the sense of urgency would be greater. The playoffs are a second season as it is.
Yes.
It's like really 3 months long, But I tell you this, if I'm LeBron James or any star in the league, I don't want my name attached to this in any way, shape, or form. Some people already criticize LeBron and say he's soft. Now, 70 years, guys been playing 82 games. Guys were playing 44 minutes, 48 minutes, 40 minutes a night. And now you're supposed to be one of the greatest players ever, and you can't play 82? So I'm saying Let the league do it, LeBron. Don't you get your name on this. Let the league do it, and then you're
Good
fine.
point.
And also with Coach Popovich and a number of other assistant coaches trying to duplicate what he has done to be successful. I'm going to decide when I'm going to rest players. We know it's too many games,
right?
But when each team has 41 home games, which owner's going to stand up and say, you know something, guys, you can take 5 dates away from me. Those are 5 revenue dates. We're in my stadium. I'm generating money for my team and for my franchise. They're not going to be able to do that. I agree with your point about LeBron. Concentrate on the things that you need to do. Now, from a league standpoint, there's already enough pressure because the fan base is not happy. Yep. The TV partners aren't happy, so they're going to have to do something. But it was like with the guy with the Atkins diet, when he finally died of a heart attack, that hurt the program. Right. So LeBron, like, be careful. Yes, right. Like, you might lose some weight, but you also might die.
Listen. I'm going to defend LeBron in this sense. I'm going to knock up his approval rating about 73%.
It's going up. What was it last week?
71.
Okay.
It went up 2 points. Listen. Put your name on improving the league. If we all believe less games will improve the quality of play, put my name on that. I forced that to happen. We can go all. This isn't new for LeBron. In 2014 or 15, we forgot a quote. It's not the minutes, it's the games. The minutes don't mean anything. We can play 50-minute games if we had to. Then he ends it. 82 games are a lot. This isn't new territory for LeBron.
But this is the thing, though. You're not only putting your name on fewer games, you're putting your name on less money. And if you're LeBron James and you got $1 billion contract with Nike, that's fine. But what about those guys in the league that aren't making as much money? And by the time the league makes up the money, if they ever do, these guys will be out of the league.
I don't want to throw, I'm not going to go conspiracy, but
I didn't either. I'm just telling you it's an organized.
This is the first year. I don't know about TNT. It's the first year of ESPN's deal.
Yep.
They're scared. This will be their second layoff. And they're not laying people off because they're baseball or NFL contract. They're laying them off because of this contract. Yep. Mm-hmm. This is the first year. It escalates. By the end of this, it's $2 billion annually. I wonder if Adam Silver's hearing from a broadcast partner, we can't stay in this deal 10 years.
Well, clearly.
We have to. No, seriously. Yeah. Not just LeBron, not just Daryl Morey.
ESPN.
I'm starting to believe that if ESPN. Listen, if you get into a marriage and the first 2 months are rocky, you got to get to therapy. You got to change something or you're not going to last 5 years.
It's like playing in a high-stakes golf match and the guy's giving you 2 or 3 shots. He has his first ball off there and you realize he was a pro before. You done lost the match already on the first tee. Like, they're going to struggle with that TV deal.
Golf's first major starts this week, and to celebrate, DraftKings is hosting a free fantasy golf contest with $100,000 in total prizes up for grabs. Pick 6 golfers before the tournament tees off Thursday morning. Rack up points for streaks, per-hole performance, tournament finishes, and more. Outscore the competition and win. Hurry to DraftKings.com now and use code SPEAK for free entry into the $100,000 fantasy golf contest starting this Thursday for golf's first major. That's code SPEAK to play free for your share of $100,000 in total prizes. Only at DraftKings.com. Eligibility restrictions may apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
To the West, where Steph Curry has faced some criticism this year, with Kevin Durant taking over as the top dog in Golden State. But Steph has looked more like his old self. He really has since Durant went down, including this circus pass last night. And he says it's, quote, comical for anybody to say he's having a down year. If you look at the numbers, he's got a point. Steph's numbers pretty much on par with his 2 previous MVP seasons. Jason, is Steph really having a down year?
Steph Curry is still one of the elite players in the league. He's not having an MVP season, though. When you win 2 straight MVPs, 2 straight MVP awards, and then you come back the next year and you're not one of the top 3 or 4 candidates, it's a down year. Has he fallen off a cliff? Hell no. Every one of those numbers was down. How can it not be a down year?
I'm going to say I made a big mistake on this. I whiffed on this one badly about a month ago, and so I'm just going to own this, is that when Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points, he scored 58 the next night. It's not like he was a loser. 58 was still higher than his average. Okay. Steph had this one outlier year. Let's not look at that and go, man, you weren't as good as that year.
Right.
Every pro, Bird, Magic, has had a year. Let's take that out. That's an outlier. Russell Westbrook's never going to have this year again. This is great. He's going to age. He's going to be defended differently. They'll get another player to play with him. If you look at his numbers, the last 4 years, his numbers are in line this year. And can I give him props for something? If leadership matters, he was willing to step back, recruit KD, step back, let him take over. Oh, KD's hurt. I'll go back. That's incredible. What he's done is real leadership. And that doesn't show up in a box score.
No, I agree with you. And what I've said all year is people were saying he was having a down year. It's comical to say he's having a bad year.
Yes.
Like you said, yeah, it's a little down from what you did last year. My contention is he could do what he did last year or very close if Durant wasn't there. And we're seeing that over these last 12 games. And it's not that, I mean, CC, it is what it is. When you bring in a 30-point scorer, you're not going to average 30 with him. You know what I mean? So Steph has actually done what needs to be done for the betterment of that team, but it's not the best thing for the league because he and the Warriors are so much more fun to watch. And he's going down as an all-time great Hall of Famer no matter what. But if Durant wasn't there and he was doing this for the next 4 or 5 years,
so we're essentially
he goes to
we're punishing Steph.
Oh yeah, that's what we do to superstars, because they set the standard for how they're going to be judged. It's not the public; it's how they perform. Tom Brady and all the greats. LeBron, we said that when he was in Miami, he ended up having some of the better years he's ever had. But as soon as he dropped just a little bit, and where Steph has just dropped a little bit is in the three-point. I mean, he's unconscious. 44% the last 3 years from three-point range. That's ridiculous. We knew that was eventually going to change. It was 1994, I broke the NFL record, 122 catches, 9 touchdowns. I came back, people said, well, what are you going to do next year? I said, well, I know I am not going to be able to break the record, so what I'm going to try to duplicate the touchdown part because I know I can't duplicate the reception part of things. So you have to change your goals to still be able to be great.
I want to ask you a great follow-up, and I can't believe I've never asked you this. What's it like mentally when a Randy Moss, Kevin Durant joins your team, younger, in the prime of their career athletically? What is that like? You've been through basically what Steph Curry's going through.
Yeah, it's a great situation to be in. And the reason why it's great, because the team, the level for the team goes up. I'm going to have to sacrifice the ball some, but the team success can be greater. And you do get a reprieve. Every week, I didn't have to plow the field. I didn't have to get 10 for 150. I didn't have to do that. And it did a great job for me psychologically because it motivated me. Because when people would mention Randy Moss as one of the best receivers, I would make sure they wouldn't forget me. And anytime they double-team Randy, I would tell the cornerback, for what your coaches did, I'm going to punish you. You personally going to be responsible for not double-teaming me and not thinking that I was the best receiver on the team.
There's real value to me in self-awareness. And I love that, and I've said this on many times, it's the most undervalued thing. When Magic broke into the NBA, it wasn't his team, it was Kareem's. And so Magic is a real smart dude. Magic's like, okay, forget about winning this. I got to win Kareem's trust, not my coach, because I got about 5, 6, 7, 8 years with the big fella. So Magic, even though Magic was more valuable to the team, he made Kareem feel like, hey, it's your team. I'm just here, man. It's your team. I think it's a real thing that Steph's been like, we're probably better off when I'm the guy, but welcome into my home. Here's the welcome mat. You're going to have more points. We've got to start giving value to pro athletes who step back statistically for the betterment of the universe.
There are those that will tell you that Steph is relieved that he doesn't have to go to the arena 82 nights a year. Like, I got to drop 30, 35.
Absolutely.
That you got this other guy that you can rely on, too.
Welcome back. Chris Carter's here, joined by Super Bowl champ Eric Davis. Let's move to Tony Romo, who announced yesterday he was retiring from the NFL to join CBS as their lead NFL analyst. Good gig. Romo addressed the media yesterday and discussed the chances of him returning to the NFL.
You know, I wish I could tell you unequivocally 100% for the rest of my life I'll never play any sports at all. Do I envision coming back and playing football? Absolutely not. I'm committed to CBS. I'm going to be there for good. Do I think I'm going to get some calls? I'm sure I will. There's not enough quarterbacks as is to win 12 games in the NFL anyway.
All right, Whitlock, going to stay retired?
No, my money says no. Out of his own mouth yesterday, he said, "You never say never. I'll just tell you it's about 99% that I don't return." Not comparing him to this guy, but he sounds just like Michael Jordan in 1999 after his second return. I never say never, but it's 99.9% never. Jordan later returned to the NBA with the. It's hard to get out of your system. Ian Rappaport is reporting right now today, in this moment right now. Marshawn Lynch has told the Raiders he's coming out of retirement. Players have a hard time. If they feel like they got gas in the tank, they always want to empty the tank.
Listen, there's a lot of good broadcasting jobs, right? If you're a player and can come to this network or any network, this is a good job, right? Yeah. You already got some big NFL money. But the job, Gruden or, Collinsworth or Troy Aikman, like the big four, you could make an argument and see he just got one of the big four gigs.
Yeah. Without being qualified.
If he takes a phone call and for a moment thinks, yeah, Miami's pretty interested, you know who's sitting out there? Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's a better friend of Jim Nantz than Tony Romo is. I don't think the leverage is Tony Romo's. I think CBS has the leverage. I think CBS, with Jim Nantz, doesn't need Tony Romo. I think Tony Romo said, my shelf life of being Tony Romo is about this big, and it's shrinking if I don't take this job.
I disagree. and Lord, I love Phil Simms. I consider him a friend of mine. They got the leverage. Phil Simms was doing the job poorly for a number of years. If it's so easy to fill these jobs, they would have filled it a long time ago. This is a little desperate move by CBS, giving the job to a guy that's not qualified.
But the thing about broadcasting, and Chris, you know this as well, one thing that we know when you're talking about the color aspect of things, every year there's another Tom, Dick, and quarterback coming out. So there we go. So it's always going to be another quarterback that they're going to assume understands the game and can tell everybody what's going on. And Tony's not going to go back to football because Tony is in a situation where he didn't start on the sidelines at high school games like I did. He's got the #1 gig. It's a cushy gig. Now, he's going to have to work at it. It's going to be more work than he knows because he's never done it. Mm-hmm. But he also is going to understand that the last 3 times he got hit, his body cracked. He's made of glass, okay? So this is not Marshawn Lynch coming back that has the body to take the pounding. Tony Romo understands that his days are over. The teams that are going to call him are not going to be the teams ready to go to the Super Bowl. That's not. That's the only thing he's looking for.
The 3 that could have didn't call him. Denver, KC, Houston.
Which is why he's going to stay. He's going to stay where he is.
And I don't believe his deal at CBS, and kind of knowing Sean McManus a little bit, and having talked to the network before, that they would allow their top broadcaster to have an option out into some other business besides broadcasting.
Thank you.
So for me, that would be an idiotic decision because it's a reach anyway, putting him in that position, regardless of how good Phil Simms was or not. He had been doing it 20 years, and you snatch a guy who was at a clipboard last year who has never called no game in his life. I'm talking about NFL Europe, high school game. He don't know a lineup. He don't know how to make a card. This is a reach for them. And for him, if he would open the door for that, to me, it's very unprofessional. And it doesn't help out the next group of athletes who come aboard. Man, you got a great job. And you were not a great player. Do you deserve it? That's up for someone else to argue. But you have it. Be responsible and be responsible to the other professionals that have gone before you. Be prepared and do the best job that you can do because this is not a layup. Ask Joe Montana and ask a bunch of others.
Yeah, that's why I say it's more work than you know until you get into it. But, Chris, this is the thing. I'm not even just talking about coming out this season. I'm talking about period. Not the Jordan thing where you're out for a year and then you decide you want to come back or the Brett Favre.
This is a one-year trial.
It may be, but he's not coming back to football. His body, everyone's looking at Brady and Breeze and what Brett Favre did. This guy's body is broken down. He doesn't have the genetics to do that. He's done.
Listen, if he understood that, that would be one thing. He doesn't seem to understand that. That's why he's saying never say never. That's why he wanted some.
The reason why he said that, Tony Romo has never been a great interview. The reason why he said that yesterday, because he don't know any better. When people know better, they do better. And when he'll realize as being a broadcaster, there's certain things I can't say. I can't even leave the 1% open because Sean McManus has bet on me and has bet a heavy price load that I'm going to be good at this job.
By the way, if Tony Romo is going to be a great broadcaster, he didn't know yesterday there was one question they were going to ask that we were looking for the answer. That was it, and he butchered it.
Thank you. That's why I'm saying this is Jerry Jones. If you read the story about, he got $5 million basically extra by getting cut. Jerry gave him $5 million going out the door to go away. Don't play football this year as best you can. If this doesn't go well for Romo, he'll be back in the NFL
at
next
38?
year.
No, it's not happening. No. Oh, yeah, Benjamin Button's there.
Welcome back. It'll be 1 against 3 in this one. Chris Broussard, joined by my co-host in the herd, Christine Leahy. Here we go. Time for Who's the Best, presented by America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. You know, my dad was an optometrist. I think I've said that 12 times. Let's move to Russell Westbrook, who some say is having one of the best seasons ever. The Thunder star tied Oscar Robertson's single-season record of 41 triple-doubles last night against the Bucks. Here's Westbrook on the accomplishment.
It's something that I could never dream about growing up in the city of Los Angeles. Never dream about a moment like this, to be able to be on this stage and to be able to lead and find ways to lead a group of guys is unbelievable and a blessing for me.
All right, Whitlock, should Westbrook's historic season make him an all-time great?
It did it for Oscar Robertson. And again, Oscar Robertson had other accomplishments, great college player, 12-time All-Star, eventually won a championship with Kareem in Milwaukee. But when Big O was in Cincinnati, a place similar to Oklahoma City, he was a lot like Russell Westbrook. Shot a little bit better percentage, but he was a 6'5", overpowering, freakish athlete that rebounded, assisted, scored. It did it for the Big O. It's the modern NBA. I certainly think this puts him in elite class, this sort of accomplishment.
So I'm going to surprise everybody here.
Okay.
And my producers are going to be mad because they probably want conflict. I think it does put him in the all-time great category. I don't think it means the MVP. That's a different argument. But if you look at Russ's career and then you throw this year in, oh, yeah, that's all-time stuff. I don't have a problem with that.
I can't even believe that this or the MVP is even a debate. He did something that no player has done in 56 years. And if it was so easy, it wouldn't have taken this long to have it happen again. And I know that your argument is that it's just padding his stats and that he's getting these extra rebounds. But when he does it, it's not to the detriment of his team. It's actually helping them. They get 17 fast break points per game. They're third in the league in fast break points. That's because Westbrook gets the ball in his hands on rebounds and is able to get it up the court fast.
That's the thing. Most point guards, we haven't paid attention to their rebounds because they can't rebound that well. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't hurt to have a point guard who can go get you 10 or 11 rebounds a game. To Christine's point, now you get out on the break and you run. I mean, this is unbelievable stuff. When you can match an Oscar Robertson or Wilt Chamberlain, it's out of this world. And this is the thing. I think you would have been killing the Big O back in the day because 4 of his teams in his 10 years in Cincinnati, 4 times they were under 500.
Yep.
3 times, his last 3 years there, they missed the playoffs.
Yep.
So you would have been ripping the Big O. Think about that.
You know, I'm not ripping you know who I'm ripping? All you guys.
Oh.
This whole triple-double is a declaration against the media. The media has told me for years it doesn't matter because I've never done a segment on Oscar Robertson because the audience has never demanded it. When he did have a triple-double year, he finished 3rd. Stats don't matter because Wilt once averaged 50 points and 26 rebounds or assists. And he lost to Bill Russell, an average offensive player in a landslide. So for years and years, I've never once been told that rebounding number for a point guard, it is a big deal.
So let's take rebounds completely out of the equation. He is the first person since Tiny Archibald, I think that was 45 years ago, to go 30 and 10. Let's take rebounds completely out.
I think that's great. And in fact, if he went 30 and 15 with 5 rebounds, I'd vote him MVP.
You know
Colin, listen. Christine already made the great point. People are knocking the rebounds he's getting on free throws. If that ignites their fast break, quickens the pace of their offense, The rebounds do matter. He's the most explosive player in the league. The sooner he gets his hands on the ball, the better it is for their offense.
Here's another reason why he's an all-time great, especially right now, is I love how much he just loves the game. When everyone else is talking about rest and they've got to manage their minutes and they can't play, he's out there every single night. And the argument that we make is that the NBA is getting boring. He is never.
He also
okay, time out. Are we watching this video? I want you to come back. I want you to come back and show this. Put this on a loop. Your argument is, Christine's, it gets the fast break going.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, listen.
Okay, that's no fast break.
Example.
Okay, let's go to another. You're right.
This
My
is
bad.
like 4 examples out of the whole entire
Here's another one.
The quicker,
Here's the thing.
quicker your
and
best
that shows
player
how
gets
much
the
your
ball.
teammates respect you.
Absolutely.
Oh, there's another big
They
fast break.
They don't want to play with you. They don't
This
like you. That shows they like you.
Every single time on every single team, a guy is close to a triple-double. And if it doesn't, that means his teammates don't like
another
it.
big fast break
So if anything,
there.
this is a good point.
It's really
This player's
igniting that
respected.
fast break.
Getting the ball in the hands of your best player
Next
as
time I'll
soon
talk
as
to the
possible.
producers and get the
How
fast
could
break
that be a
points up
bad
first.
thing?
That's like-
How could that be a bad thing, Colin?
I didn't say it's a bad thing. It ain't an MVP thing.
Who is your MVP?
James Harden.
He's shooting 44%. He's averaging more turnovers than Russ.
Yeah.
Russ is shooting 42%. Is that big of a difference to you?
On all shooting statistics, in this league now is a shooter's league, they're better.
It's not a shooter's league because Russ wouldn't be excelling if it was just a shooter's league.
Well, he's not going to win a second-round playoff because he didn't have enough shooters on his team.
Second-round
Houston.
playoff.
But what is MVP? It's the most valuable player. You take Harden out of the picture, Rockets wouldn't be as good, but they could still compete.
If you took LeBron...
You take him out of the Thunder, they're nothing.
If you take LeBron out of the league, nobody watches the sport. That's the MVP.
But he doesn't play in every game.
Now
so it
you've
doesn't
changed the
qualify.
argument, just like you've changed your position on Russell Westbrook and Steph Curry.
Want to show those rebounds?
Next
video
thing
again?
I know,
You have heard players, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, all talk glowingly about Oscar Robertson because he averaged a triple-double. They don't talk about the ring he won with Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They talk a lot of people don't even know he won a ring.
By the way,
they talk about the triple-double.
The league just, I love Oscar. I don't believe in what you say, I believe in what you do. I've never seen an NBA promo with Oscar Robertson in it. Not one in my life.
Well,
Magic, Bird, Dr. J.
They haven't loved Oscar because he's outspoken.
He's an agitator. He was big in the players'
By the way, I saw promos for Rodman. He was an agitator. I thought you loved Oscar.
Oscar
Never seen
was
a promo.
involved with the players' union and was an agitator like Isaiah Thomas.
This immortalizes Russ.
To Seattle, where Seahawks GM John Snyder admitted that there is something to recent reports. The team has been listening to trade offers for Richard Sherman.
What you've seen lately in the news is real. That's on both sides. It's just open communication. He knows what's going on. We know what's going on. I don't know if anything would ever happen. We know we're going to try to keep our core together as much as we possibly can. But yet we know that there's going to be a really hard decision or two that's going to be coming with people that we love.
All right, you surprised the Seahawks are acknowledging publicly we may trade him. We'll listen.
No, I'm not. I think they're trying to stir up trade discussion. They want someone, hey, he's out here, he's available, let's make it public. They'd like to move Richard Sherman. So, I'm not that surprised that they made it public. I think they want to move on from Richard Sherman.
I agree. I will say this. I would always rather have a boss tell me the truth. So I don't think it's a bad look. I think John and Pete have sat down, they're smart guys, and they've said, listen, what's the pushback on us doing this? Mm-hmm. We were authentic. I mean, Richard's a smart guy. We'll just say, Richard, we don't take you for a dope. We're going to be honest with you. You're outspoken, we're outspoken. There's no loss for the Seahawks. Yeah. They're advertising to the league he's available. We could save some money. And they're they're being upfront. What you don't want to do with Richard Sherman, because Richard Sherman will talk, is get on the bad side. So let's be open, authentic to the media. I think there's no lose here for the Pete Carroll and John Schneider.
They don't have. They're doing this because they have no choice. Absolutely, they understand the player that they're dealing with. They have someone. I've said before, this organization. This is how they do things. But Pete also has to have young players because you reach a point to where you understand what it is that they're doing and how they're doing it. So now this has been circulating, and that happens all the time. Players know it. I mean, every single year the Saints tried to trade for me when I was with the 49ers. I was in their division. I kicked their butt all the time. They were always trying to do it. I would hear about it. It's business. There's nothing I could do about it. If they traded me, they traded me. They never did. That's just a part of it. He understands what's going on, Richard Sherman, that is. But they can't come to him telling him stories. He's too smart for it. He sees what they're doing, and they know that they have to do this. And now to the league, it looks like we're being upfront. This is what's going on. They dangled him. Everybody knows. He knows. We got to get this straight with Sherm. If he's back, we don't want to have to deal with him.
And it's gone full circle. First, the coach mentioned it at the combine. Then Richard Sherman mentioned it. He kind of laughed it off. Now, Snyder, the GM. So those are the all three important players involved in it. And Snyder does a great job with the players as far as paying them when they have their maximum value. Richard's got 2 years left on his contract. This also, fans should know that this is a great draft of cornerbacks. But why take a chance on a young guy? You can get a guy you have under contract for 2 years. Seattle can get another pick because they need to get younger, because in the system that Pete runs, it's also a system of teaching younger players. It's also practicing an awful lot. Watch how many times they've gotten fined by the NFL for contact during the offseason. It's a young man's program, and they understand that. So also, the last thing would be that engage that they had last year on the sideline. That's something that Pete don't want to see, because that's the only time that I have seen Pete Carroll in his whole coaching career where he looked like he didn't have control of the team. When Richard Sherman was chastising him about the offensive play calling, that was the first time I ever seen Pete Carroll, who is a leader of leaders. I'm talking about crazy guys. Pete can coach him and control him. That's the only time I ever saw that.
You know, the other thing is Pete is a very likable guy. There's an ego, though. When he was at USC, there was a sense that Norm Chow was getting a little too much publicity. Norm Chow disappeared. I mean, there's always been that thing with Pete that, you know, Pete's like a player's guy. But as you've said, to a point. And Richard Sherman's getting to a point now where Richard's getting a lot of the discussion and a lot of the talk. And I think Pete likes to be the guy selling the narrative.
Richard has become bigger than the Legend of Boom. The Legion of Boom.
Legion of Boom, yeah.
And that's not a great...
I want to throw in one other possibility here, because the Patriots are allegedly interested in Richard Sherman. And how would his personality fit in New England? I think he would have to blend. You don't think there's any...
No, his cap number's too high. And for Malcolm Butler, what they're trying to do with him, Richard doesn't... They don't pay veteran players like that. Now, they'll hire...
But they do for a year.
For a hired gun.
Yeah, I mean, they always do.
But it would be years of Sherman?
Yeah.
Why not?
I think I could see them making that move. I could see them find a way, and they would deal with his personality. Sherm's not crazy. Sherm's just an intelligent guy that doesn't deal with your BS. That's all it is.
That would be a great system. Sherman going, because what Belichick would do is put him on the number 2 receiver and double the number 1 receiver, a lot like they did with
they got Gilmore. I think they'll be okay.
Gilmore, you have to be careful with him.
I don't know. I think they'd be okay with those two guys.
I've seen him a lot of times on the highlight chasing a lot of people.
I've seen him on the low.
He got those dreadlocks, right? I couldn't read the name on his back with those dreads.
This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. I told you the show was going to be fun. Remember, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. We'll talk to you on social media, and we'll see you on the show tomorrow.